Thank you, Michael. It's been a productive time training. We saw the group come in waves. We had a first group of 8 to 10 players that we had some really intensive training sessions. And then as we went on and the group filled in, we were able to do full team sessions, and the team's looking good. We're excited about using both of these friendlies to gain information and to prepare for Copa America. Um, that's it. Thank you.
We'll begin with questions and start with Stephen Goff from the Washington Post.
Greg, thanks for your time. What specifically would you like to see this team accomplish and get out of not just tomorrow, but the Tuesday match against Brazil?
So I think we're looking for our performances to give us information of where we're at. We know we're playing two top South American teams, and we're going to learn a lot both about our group and our opponents in these two games. But for us, it's about how do we go out in the field and have a good level of performance, how we go out in the field and compete, and then get the entire group ready and fit for Copa America.
Next will be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Jeff.
Now that you've been able to see the guys for a few days, how is the right back situation coming together? Are you any further along in determining at least what you're going to do for these next two games and what you're going to look at?
For the next two games, we will try different looks. We're certainly going to give the natural right backs an opportunity in these games, and then we'll perhaps look at some other options. For us, we've been able to see so far in camp the performances of our right backs, but also the other players, and really just taking it game by game, opponent by opponent.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, Michael. Greg, can you hear me all right?
I can.
Thanks. Josh Sargent, we were told, was load management, I think was the phrase that we were given in recent days. Can you tell us where he is and if he is still managing the load, how that affects the striker situation? Thanks.
We've been training with Josh both in the gym, on the field, and he's not going to be fit to play in the Colombia game. We'll have to see if he makes it for the Brazil game, and then we'll have to make a decision if he makes it on the Copa America roster. He's had a nagging foot injury that we've been unloading him, then giving him some more, and then we've been testing him just to see where he's at. And for us, it's about how do we get him ready and prepared in a good way, and then make a decision if he'll be available.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Greg, thanks for doing this as always. You mentioned trying different looks. How do you balance sort of experimenting, for lack of a better word, a little bit in these two games, and also having some continuity, heading into the tournament? Those two competing.
I don't think it's too difficult. I mean, we're going to try a couple things, but in general, the group is going to be consistent, and we'll put out a strong lineup tomorrow, and we'll put out a strong lineup against Brazil. There probably won't be a ton of changes in those lineups, and we'll move towards building a team to compete against Bolivia. But we want to use this as an opportunity. We want guys to be competing for positions. That's really important. So we're going to make all 6 subs in both games and give guys opportunities to show that they can be starters when it comes time to play Bolivia on the 23rd.
Next is Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hey, Greg. Both you and a bunch of the players have mentioned that the Copa America is not a be-all and end-all in itself, that the ultimate goal is getting ready for 26. How does that manifest itself in what you do and what you ask of the players?
Well, I mean, I think, personally, Ron, I think that Copa America is essential to the growth of this group. And I believe this is a very important tournament for us as a team. This is, the last major tournament before the World Cup. We'll have Gold Cup, but the caliber of teams does not match Copa America. When you think about, the big 4 teams that are in this thing, in Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, and Colombia, we can potentially, we're playing 2 of them pre-tournament, 1 of them in tournament, and we can potentially face them again as we march throughout the tournament. So this is a big tournament for us. And, it is a building block in which to go into the World Cup confident. So I think this can build a tremendous amount of momentum amongst the group. It can bring confidence to the team. So, we're treating this seriously, and we want to put in good performances.
Next will be Michele Giannone from Univision.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, Greg. I wanted to follow up on Josh's situation.
Okay.
Big if he can't make Copa America, would you feel comfortable going with Balo, Pepe, and Hadji, given that Hadji can play as a 9? But you mentioned that you see him as a winger too. So in your mind, are you thinking another winger, moving Hadji as a 9, or giving another 9 a chance? Thank you.
Yeah, so Michele, those are all things that we would discuss. Right now we have 27 players in camp, so there's also the likelihood that we just stick with the 26 if Josh can't go. The other option would be to look outside this player group and look for someone on the prelim roster to replace Josh, and it's a bridge that we'll cross when we get to it.
Next will be Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
Hey, Greg, you mentioned the number that you have. We, from the outside, perceive that Timmy Tillman is kind of trying to earn a spot. And I wonder if he has a shot to make the squad, and how he's performed, and what it's like having him and his brother in the same camp.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the numbers, of course he has a shot. And, we like Timmy. We like what he did in the Jan camp. We think he's a very smart soccer player, very good soccer player. He's done well for LAFC this season, and he absolutely has an opportunity to make this roster. For us, seeing brothers in camp is always interesting. You look for their interactions. You look how, do they sit next to each other every opportunity they get. But, they've been kind of independent, and I really like to see that. I mean, Timmy will drift off away from Malik and go do his thing, and sometimes they'll be together, and it's really fun to see them on the same field and playing together. So overall, it's been a good camp for them.
Next will be Kyle Bond from the Sporting News.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks, Greg, for your time. Appreciate it. It's been a while since you guys have had Tyler, Wes, and Eunice and Gio all together in a camp and for big competitive matches like this. How are they looking in training, and how do you foresee all of those pieces fitting together?
They're looking good. I think we're building everyone up to get to a good spot for Copa America. The best thing we can have is options. We know we're going to need to make changes in the games that we play. We know that we're playing against high-level opponents, and the more options we have, the more players we have at a high level, playing at a high level, the more chances of success that we have.
We'll go to Larry Henry Jr. from SBI Soccer.
Hey, Greg, thanks for the time. Just wanted to ask about Colombia and specifically. Obviously, they're right now the only team in World Cup qualifying in their group without a loss, which is pretty surprising considering Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil. What stands out most to you about them? Obviously, we know the attacking talent they have, the veteran goalie in Espina, but what have you guys been breaking down in terms of the best way to get after them?
Yeah, I think it would be surprising until you start looking at their roster, and then you start looking at how they play and their commitment and their top quality. You look at their playmakers and Luis Diaz, and it's a tough group. They haven't gone 18 games undefeated for nothing. Really physical team, really strong defensively. What I really like is how they recover when pressure is broken. They get 7-8 guys back immediately in front of the penalty box to make it really difficult to penetrate. I'm really excited about this game. I think it's going to be a great test for us, and we're looking forward to a great crowd in D.C. tomorrow night.
All right, our last hand up is Andrew Jones.
Thank you, Michael. As always, Greg, just want to ask you just how the mentality of how the players are, with how motivated they are and wanting to win against anybody. Just your whole thoughts on that, as well as everyone else's fitness besides Josh for tomorrow.
You know, we talk all the time about the opportunities to compete against the world's best, and in these two friendly games and in Copa America, we'll get that opportunity. And it's something we don't shy away from. We want to go out there and compete, and we want to be able to beat these teams. You know, for us to reach our goals and to reach where we want to go to, you know, we're going to have to beat teams of this caliber. So, you know, that's our focus as we turn to these friendly games and more specifically Copa America.